They always remember the car. That's the part people talk about. The black luxury sedan engine still humming, parked in front of my building like it took a wrong turn into the wrong life. Neighbors stopped mid-step. Someone across the street actually pulled out their phone. I didn't move. I just stood behind my window holding a chipped coffee mug, watching the reflection of myself in the glass. Tired eyes, old sweater, the same woman everyone had learned to look past. 6 months earlier, nobody would have believed that car had anything to do with me. Honestly, neither would I. Back then, people only saw what was missing: money, time, patience. They didn't see what I was carrying. Let me rewind. The knock came late, the kind of late where your body already hurts and your mind is begging for quiet. I remember checking the clock on my stove because my phone had been cut off. 11:42 p.m., a Tuesday. Nothing good ever comes knocking that late. I almost didn't answer. Through the peephole, I saw a woman who looked like she belonged somewhere else. Clean coat, steady posture, trying very hard not to panic, and beside her, a little girl, maybe 8, holding a backpack like it was the only solid thing left in her world. I cracked the door, kept the chain on. "Please," the woman said, her voice low, rushed like fear was chasing it. "I just need one night." One. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because sometimes that's what comes out when you're too tired to cry. One night I said, "You picked the wrong door." I had $12 to my name, 2 kids asleep in the next room, an eviction notice taped so hard to my door it ripped the paint when I pulled it down. I was already behind, already judged, already one bad decision away from losing everything and taking in strangers. That's how people like me lose what little we have left. But then the little girl looked up at me. No words, no drama, just eyes quiet, alert, too grown for her age. I'd seen that look before, in my own daughter. In the mirror years ago when I left a man who thought fear was love. The woman pulled out cash, more money than I'd seen in months. "I can pay," she said quickly. "I swear, just one night." I didn't take the money right away. I kept looking at the child. Poverty teaches you something people with options never learn: how to recognize fear without it saying a word. "Just tonight," I said, finally unlocking the chain. "Tomorrow you figure something else out." That was the moment everything started falling apart. Not all at once. Slowly, methodically, like the system had been waiting for me to make one mistake so it could finally justify what it was already planning to do. The money helped for about 5 minutes. Groceries, lights back on. Milk that wasn't watered down. My kids noticed immediately. That hurt more than the hunger ever did. But kindness has consequences when you're poor. I missed work to stay with the girl, then missed another shift. My manager stopped sounding understanding. The landlord stopped pretending to be patient. A notice showed up: this one colder, faster, final. Then came the inspection. A man in a pressed jacket walked through my apartment like he was counting flaws instead of rooms. He looked at the extra shoes by the door, the mattress on the floor, the 4 toothbrushes in the cup. "This violates your lease," he said, not even looking at me. "They're temporary," I said. "Everything is temporary," he replied, taping the notice back up harder than before. That night, I sat at the table after the kids fell asleep, staring at the wall, doing the math again. The math always screamed. No matter how you rearranged it, the answer was the same. I was failing, not because I didn't work hard enough, not because I made reckless choices, but because I chose to help when the world had decided I couldn't afford to. Then came the knock I was really afraid of. Child services. A woman with a clipboard and a voice trained to sound calm while measuring risk. She asked questions I couldn't answer the right way no matter what I said. How long would the guests be staying? How many beds? How stable was my housing? She looked at my fridge, my kids' shoes, the patched blankets. "I'm concerned," she said, finally, pen scratching. I nodded, because arguing never helps. Because when you're already labeled, your silence is the only dignity you have left. That night, the woman, the one I helped, came to me crying. "I'll leave," she said. "I'm ruining your life." I wanted to scream. I wanted to say yes. I wanted to blame her so badly it scared me. Instead, I said, "This was already broken. You just showed me where." They left the next morning, quietly. The little girl hugged my daughter so tight I thought they'd break apart. Then the door closed, and I was alone again, except now I had less than before. No job, no apartment. A folder full of notices, and the crushing thought that maybe the world was right about people like me. Then the phone rang. A number I didn't recognize. A calm voice on the other end. A lawyer. She said my landlord had made mistakes. Big ones. Illegal ones. She said someone had been documenting housing abuses patterns, discrimination, accelerated evictions. And your case, she said, is very important. I didn't understand until I saw her again. The woman I helped walked into that office different. Straighter, clearer, like someone who'd remembered who she was. She hadn't lied to me. She just hadn't told me everything. She had education, influence, access, and she used it not to save herself but to make sure what happened to me didn't disappear quietly like it usually does. The settlement came fast after that. Money I never imagined. Not rich money, justice money. Back rent, moving costs, damages. No apology from the landlord, just signatures. Silence. Checks. 6 months later, that car showed up. And here's the part people expect to be loud. The revenge, the victory speech, the look on everyone's face. But nothing like that happened. The neighbors stared. The driver opened the door. The woman stepped out. She smiled when she saw me. Not the kind of smile that says, "Look what I have," but the kind that says, "We survived." I didn't feel powerful. I felt steady. Money didn't change me. It just removed the weight that had been pressing my face into the ground so long, people forgot I had one. I didn't confront anyone, didn't rub it in, didn't rewrite history. I went back inside, closed the door, sat with my kids at the table, ate without counting bites. That was my victory. Because the real humiliation wasn't being poor. It was how easily people decided what I deserved because of it. And the real power, it wasn't the car. It was knowing I could lose almost everything and still choose to be human. So let me ask you something honestly. Do you think kindness is weakness? Or is it the last kind of power the world keeps underestimating? Tell me what you think. I read the comments.